I spent a really long time feeling ashamed for wanting more for myself, right? More money, more freedom, more time, more everything in general. And if you've ever felt that way, I'm hoping that by the end of this video, I can convince you that it is not selfish and you shouldn't feel guilty for wanting more for yourself. And on top of that, that it's probably holding you back from reaching your full potential. When I was younger, my dream was to help people. I remember wanting to solve world hunger, wanting world peace. Yes, I was very ambitious, okay? I'd say things like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be so rich that I can feed everybody in the world. And I had this pure belief that wanting more was not about me at all. It was just about being able to help others. But along the way, as I got older, that belief kind of got buried by shame and guilt. Because life happens, right? We grow up, we start working, we start paying bills, and a lot of us are just trying to survive. I know I was a few years ago. I found myself working just to pay the bills and maybe afford something nice for myself once in a while. I was in a ton of debt, okay, and I felt very stuck, and worse, I felt guilty and ashamed for wanting more. I think a lot of us grow up with all these messages around money. You've heard it, I'm sure. Money's the root of all evil. Rich people are all greedy. Just be happy with what you have. And I think while these ideas sometimes come with good intentions, they create this mindset that wanting more for yourself is wrong or selfish. And honestly, as time has gone on, I've come to believe that these are just things that people say to keep us stuck and to keep us from seeking more. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take, but I'm just going to throw that in there. Now, for me, this guilt really started showing up in my early 20s, and probably even before then, because I got my first job when I was 17 or 18. But I was working in the food and service industry. I was working over 60 hours a week, trying to pay my way through college, barely making my rent. I was living with roommates, and it was exhausting. I've also worked office jobs, the classic 9 to 5 grind, right? Doing the 9 to 5, going home, having dinner, going to sleep, doing it all again the next day. And I remember thinking a few times, what am I doing with my life? I'm not passionate about what I do. I'm unfulfilled. I'm barely getting by. But when I even started dreaming of something bigger, traveling, living comfortably, or even just having enough savings to feel secure, I felt guilty. I felt ashamed. And I don't know exactly why, right? But I do think that society has this way of making us feel like if we want more, we're selfish or shallow. But the truth is, wanting more doesn't make you selfish. It just makes you human. And it's okay. The big mindset shift happened for me last year when my grandma passed away. Rest in peace, Grandma. I love you. But losing her really made me take a step back, okay? Because she lived her whole life grinding. Every time we talked on the phone, she's like, I'm so happy to be, finally retired. And toward the end of her life, she would always talk about how much she worked and how she wishes she had had more time. And I really reflected on myself, right? And I asked myself, what am I really working toward here? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Am I in alignment with what truly matters to me? And I don't think I was. And that's when it hit me. I was working so hard just to survive that I wasn't building anything meaningful at all. I was not living the life that I envisioned for myself as a kid. And I felt like I was doing a disservice, I was dishonoring my inner child. And that's also when I realized that guilt and that shame around wanting more, it was not serving me at all, and I had to let it go. It was keeping me small. It was keeping me stuck in this cycle of just scraping by instead of thriving. And then I remembered, I started reflecting. I started doing a lot of introspection during this time and thinking back, what did I want when I was a kid? I wanted to help people. I remember saying, if you want to give a lot, you have to have a lot. And that's when it clicked for me that wanting more doesn't have to be greedy. It can be about creating abundance so you can share that with others. Because the less you have, the less you can give, okay? There is no virtue in poverty. But when you have more, whether it's money, it's time, it's resources, you have more power to make bigger impacts. And so I started looking at wealth differently and approaching it differently. I started seeing it as a tool, okay? A tool to create freedom for myself and to help others. I also started being really honest with myself about my goals. Because yes, I wanted to donate more and volunteer more and give back to my community, but yeah, I do also want to travel. I do want nice things. I do want to live comfortably, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care what anybody says. And that mindset shift made such a huge difference for me. Instead of feeling guilty and shameful around money, I felt empowered. I realized that I could work toward financial abundance without losing sight of my values. Money is not just about the material. Money is an energy. And these days I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm definitely aligned with my ideal self. I have the funds to have recurring donations going out of my account every month to different charities. I volunteer in my community when I can, and I'm building a business that's aligned with my purpose of helping others grow and thrive. That's why I create this content for you guys, and I do it for free. And I have the time to do it. That's the key, right? I have the freedom. So for me, abundance is not just about money, right? It is about that freedom. The freedom to spend with loved ones, the freedom to spend doing something you're passionate about, the freedom to give back in meaningful ways. ways. So if you've been struggling with shame or guilt around wanting more, I want you to take a moment to reflect with me here. What would having more allow you to do? How could it help you create the life you want and make an impact on others? Because being wealthy really gives you the capacity to serve and share and thrive. And while not everyone who has money does that, you have to understand that the capability is there. And at the end of the day, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is literally you. So if you hold these beliefs, they're holding you back. Stop letting your guilt hold you back. And instead, start seeing abundance as an opportunity to create something beautiful, meaningful, not just for yourself, but for the world around you, right? I think the majority of us want to make an impact. We want to leave the world better than we arrived into it. So I really hope that this helps you see that wanting more isn't bad. It's not selfish. You shouldn't feel guilty about it. You shouldn't feel shame. And to really start shifting your mindset in a way where you're like, I can want more for myself and still do it in a way that feels meaningful. Still do it in a way where it's aligned with my core values. If you're ready to start shifting your mindset around money and building a life of abundance, comment this affirmation down below to let me know that you've made it through the video. I choose to live a life of abundance because the more I have, the more I can give to others. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and never forget that the journey of self-discovery and self-development is everlasting. So keep doing the inner work, keep taking that aligned action, and until next time, I wish you all the very best in health and happiness. Bye.